At last, Kailyn Lowry has shared the whole truth about her son Rio. The teen mom actress disclosed that her fifth pregnancy wasn't nearly as easygoing as she had previously claimed. Kailyn, 31, and her boyfriend Elijah Scott, 25, got down on her podcast, Barely Famous, to talk about their journey. The couple spent the entire episode discussing how they found out she was pregnant, how they purchased multiple pregnancy tests, their first ultrasound, and the delivery procedure. Because people were eager to hear Elijah narrate the narrative of the first doctor, Kailyn allowed him to do so. "We went together, and we were sitting in the room, and you were supposed to be either 6 or 7 weeks because of the little app she was using to track the pregnancy," he continued. The ultrasonography technician entered, completed the scan, and said very little. She was simply silent. And then you continued asking, "Is there a heartbeat?" to her. And she said, "No, I can't find one." And then that's when you cried all weekend. Kailyn went on to say that she was attempting to convince herself that she was done having children, which is why she wanted to cut her tubes out. "We find out we're pregnant completely unexpectedly, and I felt like it was such a whiplash to go from trying to convince myself I was done having kids to boom, now I'm pregnant, and then hearing there was no heartbeat. It just felt like a roller coaster in such a short time," the star of MTV stated. When it was first reported that Kailyn may be pregnant, Elijah and she had never even talked about getting pregnant. "I never brought up the subject. We weren't prepared for a child like you, and we weren't going to have one. I was upset because we didn't really know each other well," Kailyn remarked. After a few days, Kailyn accepted the possibility that she might lose the baby. "I remember having a conversation with you that was like, okay, this is okay, and if we decide we want to be together and have a child later on, we can make that decision," she stated. They confirmed the physicians had discovered a heartbeat, and she was indeed pregnant when they returned the next week for another ultrasound appointment. "The tech wasn't sure why they told her there wasn't a heartbeat," Kailyn disclosed. "Imagine you aren't planning a baby, you're pregnant, can't find a heartbeat, you've grieved, you've decided that it's okay, that it's gonna be fine, we can decide to have babies if we want in the future, and just kidding, you're actually still pregnant, and there actually is a heartbeat," she chuckled. Kailyn then inquired as to Elijah's thoughts at that moment. "When dads lose someone, do they cry? Or did you simply decide to accept what you got because this is nature? Did you feel any relief when I wasn't pregnant?" she inquired. Elijah said, "I was just stuck, not knowing the answer. I was unsure about how to feel." Kailyn posted a couple never-before-seen pictures of herself cradling her newborn boy at the hospital on Instagram. She wrote as the caption for her photo, "A year later we finally get to tell Rio's birth story." Because Elijah stopped weeping after Rio was born, Kailyn broke down in tears on her podcast in October. "I remember being upset that Elijah didn't cry because Elijah is such a mellow, calm, cool, and collected person," she said. Elijah said that there were too many emotions running high because their son had to be taken to the neonatal intensive care unit, or NICU, when they asked him again why he didn't weep. Declaring that they hardly got to see him as he came out, Kailyn described the birth as traumatizing and clarified that she only got to hold him for maybe 3 seconds. The Teen Mom 2 star claimed that as Rio was being sent right away to the NICU, about 6 nurses also had hands on him. Kailyn sobbed as she said, "I was so upset. It was really frightening, and I was beside myself when I told you that." Kailyn added that Elijah didn't have a chance to cry and process the birth of his kid because Kailyn was so distraught about her freaking out over the couple's lack of time with Rio. Rio was gently introduced into the world in November 2022, but Kailyn didn't announce his arrival until October. She concealed the birth's announcement from the media. Kailyn gave people an explanation of her thinking. I wanted to be able to tell my own story on my own terms and kind of share what information I wanted to share instead of being within a contractual obligation or storyline, she explained. She also acknowledged that, although she felt compelled to share the news with the world, she wasn't prepared to declare Rio's birth at the time. According to Kailyn, I feel like it was ripped out from under me time and time again, the article said. I feel like I'm in a tight spot. Since everyone is announcing it for me, I might as well just talk about it now. I can attempt to do things my way now, at least.